All right, for those of you who don't know, my name is Michael Forrest. Now, before we get going, if I can ask you guys to, not send me any text messages during this event, because listen, when you're up here and you're doing that whole hosting thing and you're moving around, and all of a sudden you get this wall of text in front of you, it can really throw you off. It can be super distracting, and I appreciate it if you'd save something like that maybe till the end of the event if you're going to do that at all. Also, if you guys could stay off of the stage area here, this way nobody blocks this big display behind me, right? It gives me a little bit of room to move around, do the whole hosting thing, right? Now, also, you're going to notice at the very top of your menu wheel in the lower left there, you're going to notice that you have a microphone icon that kind of looks like this here. And when when that is clear, that means we can hear everything that's happening in your environment. I mean, everything. So we've gone ahead and we've turned that to red. This way, if somebody comes in your space and says, hey, are you still on that thing? Listen, we're not going to hear any of that, so feel free to answer them. If you have a barking dog in the background, you're not going to face social ruin back at the campfire by becoming known as the avatar that suddenly started barking during its quest time, right? But just because you're muted doesn't mean you can't participate, doesn't mean you can't express yourself. You're going to notice in your menu wheel, you have a pink cheeked smiley face. And when you press this, your emoji panel is going to open up in the air in front of you as if by magic. And it's going to give you a wide variety of options with which to express yourself. So if, for example, I share something really deep, something powerful, something meaningful, and it starts to build up inside you, you can just let it out. We'll just let it flow just like that. Maybe I got some backup dancers backstage, right? And they come on out here and we break in it. It's Quest Time, the musical. Maybe they're not dancers at all. Maybe they're ninjas and they start swinging from the rafters, and it's all very exciting, and you can't believe the production value. You can throw up the applause that I live for. I could take a moment to drink it all in just like that because it feels good. All right, now also, if I ask you guys a yes or no question, you can say yes by smiling like this. You can say no by frowning like this. Maybe I say something funny, right? You want to show me you're laughing? You could do a silly face emoji just like that. And then there's this thing. This is by far the most distracting of all the emojis. I think we can agree on that, right? Big hand coming out of your head like that, right? I did this thing earlier where I actually managed to high-five myself. There we go. Very cool. I don't know if you guys can see that, but if this is working out, let me know, because I think that's a cool bit. But yeah, this is what you're going to use not to ask a question. It's not like raising your hand, at least not in this event. For that, we're going to take questions and comments at the end of the event itself. You're going to use this to let me know that there's a problem. Right, so if I'm up here and I'm waving my hands around like this, and you guys are down there going, look at him, he looks like he's saying something. He's very animated. He's moving around. What does it mean? What does it all mean? He's not talking. You guys are going to want to let me know of a problem like that. Maybe, for example, maybe the display behind me, maybe it's burst in the flames. Maybe my moderators have seen this event one too many times and they'd had enough, and they're going to fight back. So they're going to set the stage on fire. Don't laugh. That's actually happened, right? You're going to need to let me know about that. That's part of our bond. That's our sacred pact, audience. This is our agreement. This is how we come together. It's built. The rest of this event is built on this one simple truth. Now, in the middle of that emoji panel, you're going to find an X. And that's going to close the emoji panel, but it's a really good idea to leave it open during events like this. It's a great way to give me feedback. It lets me know how I'm doing, but more importantly, it lets the people around you know what you're experiencing. So if the person next to you starts going like this, that means they found something funny, right? And you may not agree. You might be like, well, that's not funny at all. I'm going to go stand over here. What's with this guy? I don't know. Except, and you can do that because this is VR. You can stand wherever you like, except you can't stand on the stage because we just made that agreement. That's part of our pact. You don't want to violate that, guys. That's not cool. All right. Now, before we get going, let me tell you, Quest Time is an event for Oculus Quest users, but all are welcome. So if you're on another device, feel free to, hang out. You may pick up some useful tips that's going to help the growing Quest community because there's new Quest users coming into Altspace each and every day, right? Now, before we set out, I got some questions for you guys, all right, so I know how to proceed. How many of you are actually on a Quest right now? Any new Quest users in here today? I know we have at least one. All right, let's see how many you guys are new to the Quest. We got a couple. Yeah, just pop your hands up. Show me some smiles. Show me some hearts or love for the Quest. Or put up both your hands because you can. Let me see you put your hands up if you're on a Quest. Show me that. Show me the feeling, that enthusiasm. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, all of you. Wow, that's a lot. Okay, so a lot of Quest users in the audience. All right, now how many of you are like new to the Quest? Right, you've just started out. You're like a new Quest user. All right, hands up or kind of one guy's going like this, using that body language, going, so. I'm kind of new. This guy's going like this. No way, man. I'm not new. I'm a legend. I've been around forever. All right. So how many of you are new to Altspace? Brand new Altspace users here today. And a chance to welcome you. All right, we got a couple. Well, welcome to Altspace. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Good stuff. I love it when we get some new users. That's fantastic. We got more over here too. How many of you used to have an Oculus Go and you upgraded to a Quest? Any new, former Go users here today? Anybody or who? Anyone on a Go who's looking to learn more about it? Anything like that? All right, cool. Wow, it's getting smaller and smaller. All right, well, I used to be on an Oculus Go. All right, I was on a Go for a long time, and when my Quest arrived, I couldn't wait for this thing to come because I tell you, I was I was in Altspace and on a Go for a long time. And I grew up in Brooklyn, right? So I'm used to talking with my hands an awful lot, right? But in Altspace, the Oculus Go only has one controller. So all anybody saw was my hand going like this when I talked, right? And I didn't feel like I was expressing myself as fully as I could. So I couldn't wait for this hand to arrive. I couldn't wait for this thing. And when I was waiting for it, when it finally did arrive, I took a good look at the controllers, right? And you know what I found, right? These are a lot of buttons. These are a lot of buttons. It's a lot to take in. So if you're a new user, you might be focusing on those controllers, right? It takes a few days to do about a week to really pick it up. I like to go over these controllers some, and I like to do it in a fun way. This in case you have been around for a while and you do know the controls. Well, everybody's skills up. You guys still have some fun too, right? Now, if you're here today, you already know the basics. You know that the left thumbstick's going to move you around like this. You know the right thumbstick's going to turn you around like this. And when you combine them, you can get these big, elaborate circles that make my presentation so much more dramatic. Everybody go ahead and try to give me these big circles because when I look out in the audience, it's going to look like you guys are ballroom dancing. Let me see what you got, people. Wow, you guys are fancy today. All right, awesome. I always say I wish you guys could see what this looks like, and now you can. Because as I mentioned earlier, we have our YouTube camera up there, Raven Eye, and that's recording this event. It'll go out on YouTube in a couple weeks. So if you want to feel Altspace famous, you stand on this rug here, you turn around, you wave at the camera, be like, hey, YouTube, how's it going? Come on in Altspace. I think you're going to enjoy it. You can meet Fred in VR. You can meet David. You can meet Hector. You can meet as if he's 21. We've got Wiffle Waffle over here, and we've got Forrester. Cool name, because I'm Michael Forrest. That's Forrester, right? You can see we've got that connection. But yeah, so there's a lot of neat people in Altspace. Come on in. I think you're really going to enjoy it. All right, now let's get talking about some of these buttons up here, right? The first thing we're going to start out with is this grip button on both your right and your left controller. It's right there on the side. You access that with your middle finger, and that is how you're going to interact with your environment. So this is going to be how, if you're, you're building worlds with your own two hands, right? This is the grip button is going to allow you to carry objects around. Like that's the way I'm using this laser pointer here. That's the way that you're going to use those bean bags in the campfire. That's the way that you're going to use those, those fireworks that are in the boxes there, right? Also, you have these basketballs that you're going to see all over the place. If you've never used the grab button, go ahead and grab onto those. Hey, backup dancers, toss me another one. Oh, there you go. Thank you. All right, there you go. We got another one out there, right? Just throw those around, right? Get used to that grip button, just to really kind of, have some fun with it. All right, now let's see what else we have. Listen, if you're having a room scale experience, right? If you're standing up in VR, what you're going to notice, right? Every now and then, you're going to walk out past your main menu, right? Out through those collection of circles, you're going to walk out past that. And for some reason, that is always the time somebody says, hey, open your main menu. And you're going to look around for it. You're going to be like, oh, man, where is this thing? And it's like always behind you. And that can get old pretty quick. It's important to remember that an Oculus Quest main menu is in your hands at all times. On your left controller, you've got this flat button right here down toward the bottom. And when you press it, your main menu is going to open up before you as if by magic, right? And when you press it again, the menu will close. So you don't actually have to press that blue and white triangle button ever again. I'll be honest with you. I haven't touched that thing in months. All I did was I flicked my hand out like that and press that button and boom, my menu's open. Flick it again and boom, my menu closes, right? Just like that. You don't have to do the hand flack, really? You don't have to do that hand flick. It doesn't make it work any differently. It's just something I like to do. I think it looks cool. It's like my menu's open. My menu's closed. You can do it just like that. Another cool thing that you have here is, listen, when you're on a Quest and you first come in, right? It takes a little bit to get used to in that you have to pay attention to your vertical height. Like you're going to notice Wiffle Waffle's all up in the air here, right? Now, Wiffle Waffle, could you show everybody what happens when you press down on your left thumbstick? Like it's a button, because it is. There you go. Boom. Right? If you're going to feel like if you're too tall or you're too short in Altspace, what you're going to find is if you press down on that left thumbstick, it's going to adjust your height and bring you back. If you had feet, they'd be on the ground. Right? The important thing to remember is if you look down when you do this, it's going to pop you up a little bit, right? Because the movement is linked to your head. So you want to look straight ahead when you press the button, and it's going to put your feet, if you had them, firmly on the ground and put you on the same height as everybody else if you're feeling a little too tall or too short, right? And this is a way that you can adjust your height in Altspace, okay? Now, what else we have here? We also have the teleport button right here, this raised up button next to your right thumbstick. And if you have your left pointer enabled, you can also use it on your left controller as well. And the way this works, if everybody lines up with me along this wall here, we can give this a try. That top button on your controller next to your thumbstick, if you press and hold it down and don't let go, and then you aim at the floor, you're going to see a teleport target appear on the floor in front of you, right? So if you aim across the room toward that wall and let go, right, what's going to happen is, boom, you get thrown right across the room. Everybody teleport over to me while there's still time. You can make it. I believe in you. Get over here, people. All right, now, on your left controller, you're going to notice your index finger, right? You may not notice your index finger. I'm assuming you have one. If you press that left index finger on the trigger, it's going to cause you to accelerate. You can go faster. So what we can do now is we can like run around the room here, go in a big circle. Maybe we can make a giant whirlpool in here. Maybe we can make a hurricane. Maybe we can make it rain, people. Let's try this out. Let me see your formation, how big of a circle you guys got. If you got dizzy, you probably don't want to do this. Let me see. Let me see how you're doing. All right, you know, that's kind of, actually, it's a good crowd today. Sometimes people mess this up. They make it like a square or something. That's really cool. Who's dizzy yet? Anybody dizzy? Anybody dizzy yet? I got some hands going up. Yeah, you probably want to stop if you're getting dizzy. All right. One cool thing you can do is actually combine the teleport and that fast motion. Like if you face the stage, right, and you hold down that accelerator button and you go backwards and teleport at the floor in front of you, you'll fall into the Altspace moonwalk, right? I hope that's not a copyright violation because that would be bad, right? Also, what you can do too is if you are, one time I come down in the audience a lot. You guys probably notice I come down a lot, and I'm moving around the space, and I'm doing a thing, and I come back and I go right back to the stage, right? And I got surrounded by the audience, so I needed to get back on the stage in a hurry. And I don't know why I never thought to do this before. You're always learning new stuff in Altspace, right? What I did was I put my hand over my head like this, and boom, I teleported backwards, right? You guys want to try that? Just stick your hand right over your head and teleport backwards. It's a lot of fun. It gives you some options. When I first started messing around with this stuff, I was at the Universe, right? And back then, it was held in a really large world. And I went around exploring it after the event was over. And I walked up to the edge of the world, and I'm looking down into the void below me. And all of a sudden, I fell off the edge of the world, right? And as I'm falling, I look over, and I see that there's this cliff over there, right? So I reached out when I aimed with my teleporter, and I aimed, and I let go, right? And I got thrown right onto that cliff, and I spared myself from being respawned, because it's not like you can get hurt in Altspace, right? So what happened was, at this point, I didn't even think. I just stayed on reflex. Oh, I'm getting the message. My voice is choppy. Uh-oh. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to re-enter the space. All right. I know it's less than professional, but I'll be right back. I want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. Yeah, that's been happening in events lately. All right. I'm on my way back in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What is this about?
Shit. Yeah?
Yeah.
What's the point of this?
We're learning about new Quest to get accustomed to this game in Oculus.
Okay.
Wow, what's going on here? Wow, look at all these people. What's this? Oh, this is that event with Michael Forrest. I've heard he's good. I've heard he's really good. How's my voice, guys? Is it any better? Any better? Good? All right, awesome. All right, let's get back to it. Oh, wow, my laser pointer's gone. You know what? They've bad enough we have to re-enter because of the whole voice thing. We could at least let us keep our laser pointer. It's not right to take a host laser pointer away. It's not cool at all. There we go. It's back. All right, awesome. Cool. We can use this. All right. But anyway, I spared myself from falling, right? And it was in that moment I knew that I was finally getting used to the controls. And you will too. It only takes a couple of days to a week or so, right? But there's going to come a point, and you're going to remember me saying this. Well, I mean, you're always going to feel the plastic of the controllers in your hands, right? But there's going to come a time where these actually become your hands. Like if I say, hey, everybody, look out that window. I don't really think about how I'm doing it. I just point, right? I don't think about the buttons that I'm pressing to do it. And for those of you who don't know, if you hold down your grip button, your hand's going to go into a point, right? And if I hold down the grip button on my other hand, well, that'll go into a point too. And I can combine this in a variety of ways. Like I can go like this and give everybody a Brooklyn hello. Everybody give me a Brooklyn hello. Go like that. Let me see what you got. Let me see you people doing it. All right. Oh, that's awesome. I love seeing that back. All right. Now maybe you put it together like this. Make a triangle, make like the Altspace logo, and hold it up nice and high. Show me some Altspace pride. Live as high as you can go. You got more pride than that, people. Reach. There you go. Nice and stretch. Oh, that feels good. And I'm going to stretch it out a little bit. There we are. All right. Also, if you twist them together like this, you can make kind of a picture frame, right? Maybe you squeeze your trigger. You get a little shutter action going in. It could be like snap, snap. Wouldn't it be cool if you could take screenshots like this? That would be awesome. Like, I would remember this moment forever. Snap, snap. Like, it'd be cool. All right. Now, if you hold down your trigger button and your grips together, right, you're going to have two thumbs up. You'd be like, hey, Michael Forrest, you're doing a great job. Maybe I'm not. Maybe it's to give me a few thumbs down. Be like, oh, I don't know. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you give me a little bit of both, right? Or maybe you haven't made up your mind yet. Lately, I've been seeing people do this. I don't know what this is about, but they've been doing it, and it looks kind of cool, I think, right? Also, if you touch your thumbs to the buttons or the thumbstick, your thumbs will go down. You don't have to actually press down. You just have to touch them, and your thumbs will like lower onto your hand like that. And you can combine this maybe into a cool dance move, right? You alternate from side to side. I'm told that this doesn't look as cool as it feels, right? But this is how I dance in Altspace. Sometimes you'll see me at the Universe going back and forth like this, right? And you're going to find that when you see somebody doing something cool that you like in Altspace, right, what you can do is just mirror them, all right? Copy them, make it your own, all right? And then all these gestures, they're going to become automatic after a while. And you're not even going to think about how to do this stuff. Like one of the first quest times we ever had, somebody was come up to the stage and they started going like this, right? And I thought it was cool, so I did it back. And then we had the entire audience doing this, and I thought it just looked really neat. You know, it's like some kind of bird flying around in VR. It's like, look at the bird. Oh, that's awesome. You know, and it was pretty cool. So that's the way you pick this stuff up, just by, you know, mirroring what people are doing, right? All right, now let's see what else we have here. All right, now you're going to find that, you know, every so often when you need to get out of Altspace in a hurry, right? Like maybe somebody comes into your space, right? And, you know, like dinner's ready or something important like that, right? You're going to want to be able to like leave in a hurry. Now, don't press this now, because if you disappear, I'm going to feel it, right? But what you can do is on your right controller, you're going to have this flat button here down toward the bottom. And this is your best route out of Altspace. You got to think of this as an eject button, right? Because when you press it, you'll get taken out of Altspace and you'll have a choice, an option to quit or resume. This is great if you press it by accident. Like, let's say you're dancing around the Universe, you press that eject button by accident, and then you just press resume. You get taken right back into Altspace like you never left, and then Yunji won't destroy you with her awesome admin powers, because you'll still be there, right? And she won't even notice, right? But if you press quit, it's going to close the app, and this is a great thing to do if you have, like, you know, if something goes horribly wrong, right? Like, let's say I look to the left, right, and as I turn my head back, the whole world moves with me. This could make you feel kind of dizzy in VR when this happens. So it pays to know how to respond to this quickly. You just press that eject button, then press quit and restart the app, and this is going to solve most of the problems that you can have in here, right? Let's say that, you know, I look to my left and there's a black void there, and I'm like, it's back, that black void again, right? And I look up and I look down and I look to my side here, and the black void's surrounding the edges of the screen, and all of my friends are frozen in space like this. They're all dramatic and they're all frozen, right? And I press that eject button and nothing happens, right? And I'm going to be like, Michael Forrest, you lied to me. I will have my revenge, right? But no, that's not what's going on. Occasionally, your device is going to freeze like that. And let me show you how to deal with that. All right. The best way to deal with this when this happens in Altspace and in other apps is to restart your headset, right? Now, when I first got my Quest, I would take my headset off to restart my headset, right? It actually pays to know how to, because listen, if your device isn't in a charge cycle and you have it plugged in and that light's not coming on, and it takes a while for it to restart, especially if you're in a rush, you can get to thinking that something's wrong. You get to think something's, you know, broken with your device, right? But in this way, it pays to know how to restart the device while it's still on your head. And a good way to do this is if you take your index finger and you swipe it up and down on the right side there, you're going to feel that raise up power button, right? And then what you can do as a counterbalance is take your index finger on your other hand and kind of squeeze it together on your headset, right? I find it helps to look down to a deep concentration pose when you do this, right? So I go into my deep concentration pose, and about 4 seconds go by, and I concentrate so hard my avatar disappears, and I get plunged into the darkness, but I don't let go. I hang on. I wait it out. And after about 10 seconds, I start thinking, you know, why did Oculus make it take so long? It really is a long time. 15 seconds go by. I start thinking about friends I haven't seen in a while. I wonder how they're doing. You know, 20 seconds go by, and, you know, I start thinking about life, man. I start thinking about the big questions, right? And after about 20 some odd seconds, right, all of a sudden the Oculus logo appears out of the darkness like the bat signal, right? And then it starts to pulse. And when it starts to pulse, I take my fingers away and my device starts normally. And this is going to take care of most of the problems that you're going to have, not just in Altspace, but in other apps as well. And then you just come back into Altspace and everything should be fine, right? But occasionally something more serious might happen, right? There was this one time where I came out of Altspace and there was this message that said, Oculus Home is closing. Right. And it was a blue button to press OK. You know, listen, if that happens to you, don't press that OK button. Right. Because all I saw after that was the screen said loading. Right. And I waited for about 2 minutes and it wouldn't stop. Right. So I did my deep concentration pose. And then when I came back, the screen still said loading, and I knew something seriously wrong was happening. So I went to my friend Google, and Google told me all the things. And Google said that a lot of people were having these problems. Right. And the best thing I could do was a factory reset. Now, it's important to remember, if you need to do a factory reset, you're going to have to reinstall all of your apps. You won't have to pay for them, which is good news, but you're going to lose like any photos that you have saved on the device. You're going to lose a majority of your settings. You're going to have to redo your settings in Altspace and in your other apps. You may even lose your Beat Saber scores, okay? So that's serious business. You're going to lose your Beat Saber scores, and all of a sudden you're going to have to beat your friends all over again, you know, and start out fresh, you know. So it's important to only do this in case of emergency, but it's good to know that it's there, right? Now, also, you know, let's see here. Okay. That's where we are. All right, go. All right, now listen, if you're here today, you're already familiar with the Guardian system, right? Now, you know, what you may not know is how to use the Guardian system to your advantage in Altspace. Remember when we were running around the room before, right? And we all, you know, some of us felt a little bit dizzy, right? Even if you're on another device, if you get dizzy in VR, a great way to deal with this is just take a good look at your hand. Now, I know that's not your real hand, right? But if you focus on that, it can make the dizziness pass. And when the dizziness passes, you just take your hand away and you slowly take in the world around you, drink it all in, right? But what you're going to notice too is you can also use your Guardian system for this purpose as well, all right? Now, I like to tell people when they mess around with their Guardian system to be very careful, especially if you're new to VR. Because a lot of times in Altspace, you'll see somebody walking a wall and they're having a good day, then all of a sudden, bam, they hit a wall. You know, those real world walls are a problem, right? So listen, if you walk, it pays to lead with your hands, right? So if I walk up to the edge of my wall, in my real world wall, right, and that grid will appear in the air in front of me by my hands, right? And it turns out I can still move my thumbsticks around like while I'm in VR. So that means I can move my avatar while I'm standing still in the real world, right? And what I can do is I can line up my wall with this display here, right? And this is going to create kind of an anchor to the real world for me. It's going to help me feel more balanced. And as I back up to take it all in, oh no, I've fallen off the stage and I'm in the audience now, right? Now, let's say you guys aren't a nice crowd. Why don't you guys come on over here and just mess with me? Stick your hands in my face. Try to make me dizzy. And I'm going to look at that display here while you guys try to mess me up. And you're going to notice I'm not having any problem talking because I can still see that display because it's huge. There's nothing you can really do to block me from seeing it. You guys do a pretty good job of doing it, but it never really throws me off. You'll notice I'm not even stuttering here, people. This is all you got. Well, you guys are a nice crowd. Very friendly today. All right. You can also use something like the edge of the stage here, right? And line this up with a real world desk, maybe a real world table. And this is going to help you feel more connected to the real world. And this could really help you with your balance if you get dizzy in VR. All right, it's a useful trick. It can really help you out a lot. Another thing you can do is you can transition from a room scale experience to a stationary experience effortlessly in Altspace. So let's say I'm up here and you're like, this is my second event today, and I've done over 350 events in Altspace, and I am tired. I don't know how much more I can do this, people. I really don't. I don't know how much more I can go on, right? So what I'm going to want to do is I'll go up to the edge of my space here, right? Lead with my hands and make sure I got enough room for my head to pass through. And as I move my head through that barrier, right, the pass-through camera is going to go off and I'm going to see the real world. Now they have a new experimental feature too, where you can double tap the headset and just go tap, tap and see the real world, right? When I go tap, tap, and I see the real world, I see I got my coffee mug right here. I take a sip of that. I throw it down like that, and I make a mess. I'm rude like that. And then all of a sudden, I see I got my chair over there, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk on over to my chair, and I got this blue button on my screen now asking me if I want to have a stationary experience. So I go around, I sit in my chair, and I press that blue button, right? As soon as I press that blue button, I find that not only am I still in VR, but I'm also still in Altspace. I never left. There was this, and this works in the other direction too. There was one time where I was moderating for an event, and there was a couple minutes left in the event, but I felt like getting up and walking around. So I figured I would get up and walk into my Guardian system, right? And the way it usually works. But every now and then, the Quest is going to lose your Guardian, right? Due to changing light levels or for one reason or another, you can't quickly resolve where it is in your space. So it says, just draw me another boundary. No big deal, right? But when there's 2 minutes left in the event, it's a very big deal. So I have to draw my boundary out, right? And I'm drawing around. And I'm like, why is my space so big? And of all the days I had to moderate for an admin hummingbird, why did it have to be today? I don't know. So I finished this loop here, and all of a sudden the grid pops up out of the ground, right? And when it does, right, I find not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. I never left. And this is great because this means you can transition back and forth from a stationary to a room scale experience effortlessly. And it'll enable you to be comfortable without having to really come out of VR to do it. Right, so if you're in here and you're enjoying an event, but you feel like sitting down, you can do that. The only difference is, right, that your avatar is going to change its height, right? Like let's say that, Wiffle Waffle, he just stood up, so he's a little taller than everybody, right? Or maybe I sat down in the chair, I'm a little smaller than everybody, right? You guys remember from before, you just press on that left thumbstick because it's a button because it is, and that'll adjust your height. All right, so just remember that if you do that. All right, now another thing I'm going to show you, and this is not useful but cool. All right, if you go up to the edge of your boundary, right, and you make sure you got enough room for your head to pass through. As soon as you stick your head through, like you make sure you're not going to hit a wall, right? As soon as you stick your head through there, you're going to find, that you can see the real world, right? But if you do this super slow, there's a sweet spot where you can see both realities at the same time, right? And this is kind of neat because this is going to give you a sense of the scales of the avatars in Altspace. When you see them in a familiar environment, like your living room or your office, or wherever you VR from, you're going to find that Altspace avatars are about 6 feet tall, and they're a lot wider than you would think too. And you really won't really know this until you see them in a familiar environment, like your living room or something like that. And you find that, you find that as if 21, his red shirt matches my couch perfectly. Not that I have a red couch, but if I did, it would be a good match like that, right? And you can can see that in a familiar environment. It's just pretty cool to do. All right, now, if one of the great things about the Quest is it just works. Now, this doesn't mean it can't work better. Right? You ever see those earbuds that they have available for the Quest? They just kind of hang down, right? They dangle, and they're kind of like VR earrings, right? I don't know what I look like when I'm in VR. I like to think when I got these things on, I look fancy. And the first time I tried these things, I came in the campfire to test them out to see how they work. And I wasn't expecting much because the sound on the Quest is really great. There's no feedback. It's a really rich experience. But I put these on, and I came in the campfire, and you know what I heard? There was a breeze in the campfire. I've been in Altspace for like a year and a half, and nobody told me there was a breeze in the campfire. I had no idea. So I walked over to that fence that they got there, and I heard the water rushing by. And you know what? It turns out that there's a lot of ambient sound in Altspace that can make the experience a lot more immersive, really make you feel like you're in here. And that's kind of what it's about, right? To feel like you're here. Now, one thing I hear a lot is people tell me that the Quest is uncomfortable, and it's not true. All right. When I first got my Quest, I got a sore on my forehead. Right. When you first get it, it is uncomfortable. But Oculus doesn't advertise this enough that there's a breaking in period. Right. And what will happen is the oils in your face are actually going to soften the insert, and it's going to get gradually more and more comfortable. And it's going to come a time, when the springs loosen up a little bit, there's going to come a time where these just become your eyes. You won't even feel it on your face anymore. Right. And same way that these just become your hands. Right. And you're going to make you more immersed. The problem is people will think in the beginning when they first try it out and they think it's uncomfortable, they're going to try, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to modify this device, right? I'm going to get counterbalance weights. I'm going to get external battery packs. I'm going to fix this thing. And then in a couple of weeks, when the device breaks in, the balance will shift again. And then, you haven't, then they're like, oh, the Quest is just uncomfortable. And I noticed that I've known people who have returned a device because of this, right? So it's important to remember before you modify the device, please give it a couple of weeks, maybe a few weeks to see how it sits when it's finally broken in. And then that's the time to modify it with external battery packs and counterbalance weights. And like we have up here, this is an insert from VR Cover. It's very comfortable. It feels like you have a face in a pillow, right? And you can, it comes with two of them too. So you can wash one while the other one's in use, especially in these days with hygiene being so important, right? And, it's a really great product. Also, you have these prescription inserts. If you wear eyeglasses, listen, if you scratch your eyeglasses and you scratch your VR lenses, that can get pretty expensive really quick, right? So these prescription inserts will really help you take care of that. Is your hand popping up there, Fred in VR? If you have a question there, sound choppy, a little bit choppy there. Okay. Anybody else thinking I'm sound choppy? No, I'm getting no's. It might be you, Fred. You might want to try re-entering the space. All right. But let's see what else we have here. We have this travel case here. Listen, the box that the Quest comes in is fantastic, right? It's really great. But you want to make sure, if you're going to move it around, maybe get a travel case because you want to take care of your device. Because listen, if something happens to it, like you leave it on the counter in the sunlight and it damages your lenses, it's not going to be like losing your toaster or an appliance or something like that. Because you're spending a lot of time in VR and you've made friendships in here, if you've made friendships in Altspace, and these people come to, mean a lot to you. You make real friends in here. And if something happens to your device, what you're going to find, right, is you're going to register this as an actual loss. So it pays to take good care of your equipment, okay? Now, listen, we are going to be taking your questions and your comments at this point. And the way we're going to do this is you're going to notice in your lower right, you're going to see a raise hand button up here as if by magic. It's true. That's what magic looks like in VR, right? And if you press that, I'll get you on my list. I'll be able to call on you if you're like a radio host. And while we wait for that to fill up, right, you can find us on Twitter at __Uncanny Valley. All right. Also, those products that we just talked about, if you'd like to try any of those out, you can find them by going to altvr.com. And in the upper left, you're going to see where it says channels. And when you press on channels, you're going to see a list of all these Altspace event channels. And down toward the bottom, I'm told that doesn't mean anything being on the bottom. You're going to see Ravenhall events on that page, like it says on the sound booth there. And when you click on that, you can take into our event page. And on the lower left, you've got to join Discord buttons. You can join a Discord, say hello, ask questions. But on the left-hand side, you'll see all those products listed out if you want to try any of them out. You also see the most important button on the internet, subscribe button. And when you press this, right, it lets Altspace know you enjoy our content. Right? We don't get paid to do this, by the way. So every time we see that number go up, encourages us to keep on going, right? And it's a great way to say thank you if you've enjoyed today. Also, if you're on YouTube and you want to hit that subscribe button, we appreciate that too. And if you're watching us out on YouTube and you want to give any of those products a try, you'll find the links in the description below. All right, let's see. Now we have let's see if anybody else has a question here. We have let's see, Hector in the audience. Hector, you have a question? Let's see. You're on the air, Hector. What's going on?
Yeah.
What's
I saw
up?
those prescription lenses. What's the price of those, by any chance?
It can
The average
range
price.
depending on the actual prescription. Like, let's say you have a light prescription, that's going to affect the price, right? So I don't think that there's a set price for that. But if you follow the link in there, I do believe it is somewhere between $100 and $200, for them. It's somewhere in that range. I think. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to check that. I don't have the prices memorized, unfortunately. But yeah, check out they are a great product. Though. If you do wear glasses, it is really a great way to go. All right, let's see. We also have Wiffle Waffle with a question or comment. Wiffle Waffle, you have a question or comment for us today? What's going on?
Yeah, so, what's the price of the earbuds, too?
The earbuds, I believe, again, you guys are tough today asking me the actual prices. I don't have them memorized. If you do follow the link, I believe that they are around, if you remember correctly, I think they're between $40 and $60 US, I want to say. Not ahead because on the prices. I haven't looked at them in a while.
Yeah, one more question. I
Sure.
got distracted. Someone entered my room when you said, how do you subscribe
Oh, wait.
to something in here?
Apparently, I just got a message saying that the earbuds are $50 US. Thanks for the assist, Morgan. I appreciate that. Now, what was that you asked about how to subscribe?
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you go to altvr.com, right, you'll see on the upper left there's a channels link, and when you click on channels, you'll see all these event channels listed out before you, and on the very bottom you're going to see Ravenhole events. And when you press on Ravenhole events, you can take into our event page, and you can press the subscribe button there, or you can find us on YouTube by searching Ravenhole Labs or Ravenhole Events. All right. I see that I am about out of time, so if you guys have any more questions, we usually at the end of our events we take everybody flying, right? And the way we do this is we've got this cool transition. You see this red button on the side here that says Talon Call, this red shiny button. What we're gonna do, right, is I'm gonna take the stage blocker so you guys can come up here and press this with me if you want. I'm gonna unmute everybody so we can hear your reactions. All right, what we're gonna do now, right, is we're gonna go over, we're gonna press this button here. All right, everybody give me a hand here. You can, because sometimes the button sticks. Right, on 3, you're gonna push it, put your back into it. All right, let's see, here we go. Okay, I'm actually not gonna target on there. Morgan, can you give me an assist here?
Ravenhall Talon aircraft en route to your position.
All right, now if you look out the window, you're going to see a Ravenhall Talon hovercraft going down the street. It's going to go up over the trees and land in that backyard area. So if you can follow me out here, we'll all go join it as it comes down. And listen, if you've learned anything here today, please share it with those you come in contact with. So maybe, you're standing there and you see somebody down on the ground. You're like, what's wrong? And you're like, I'm on a quest and I'm stuck on the ground. You tell them to press down on that left thumbstick. They'll pop up and they'll feel better. You'll feel better because you help somebody. And that's how we help keep this thing going, right, people? Here we are.
Talon aircraft is now boarding outside for transport to the Ravenhall Flight Academy. Please exit the building and step into the blue light. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'll see you next time.